Hello, my name is Luke Storsved. With the live-action remake coming out just a week from now, I thought it apt to discuss Disney's first feature-length film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. More specifically, I'm here to talk about the character animation behind its villain, Queen Grimhilda, otherwise known as the Evil Queen, but in this video will be called the Hag. Now, before we jump into that, I want to take you on a quick trip to Frown Town, because we're going to be talking about racism. Walt Disney had a bit of a reputation when it came to his opinions on Judaism. Suffice it to say, he was not a fan. Ew! I'm going to read some descriptors for anti-Semitic caricatures right now, and then I'm going to show you why I bring it up. The, quote, Jewish nose, which is to say a large hooked nose, dark beady eyes with drooping eyelids, long spindly fingers, frequently depicted as door-to-door salesmen. Now, look at the Hag. Her eyelids are almost always visible atop her eyes, her fingers are long and spindly, her eyes are small and beady, especially when you compare them to the dwarf's eyes, and don't get me started on that nose! What I find especially interesting today is that in the live-action remake, Grimhilda will be played by Gal Gadot, or Gadot, I still don't know how to pronounce it, who is perhaps the most prevalent Israeli actress in Hollywood. No joke, when I was researching the anti-Semitism of the original, I kept getting results on how Gal Gadot, being Israeli, is making people want to boycott the film. And that's kind of wild. Now, what I'm actually here to talk about is how she's animated. It's quite interesting. With this being Disney's first foray into the world of animating humans that actually look like humans, they rotoscoped for the animation of Snow White, the Huntsman, and Prince Florian. However, the animators were so determined to make Queen Grimhilda beautiful that they painstakingly drew every frame to make her as gorgeous as possible. They also didn't rotoscope the Hag, but that's because she's closer in style to the dwarves than any of the humans. Despite that similarity, however, her animation differs from the dwarves quite a bit. A key feature of animation is what we in the biz call squash and stretch, which is pretty much what it says on the tin. You squash them, and then you stretch them, and then it makes them look like they're moving. The dwarves do a good amount of this, so it's pretty easy to contrast it against them. The Hag is pretty much just moving like a robot. No squashing, no stretching, just her head moving up and down like it's a forklift. The closest she gets to it is incredibly subtle. No more stretch than a normal motion blur would be on a real human. Her facial movements mimic this. When the dwarves are talking, their eyebrows shoot up beyond the boundaries of their skulls, but the Hag has the equivalent of real human physics applied. Part of this is amplified by the animation frequently switching from 2s to 1s, causing her to move faster in some instances and slower in others. The important thing about the Hag as a character design, aside from the anti-Semitism, is that it is Grimhilda's disguise. In the play that Disney based their version on, the Hag is just a woman that the Queen hired, but in Disney's version, Grimhilda takes a potion that turns her into this Hag. It's an unnatural appearance for her. And nowhere is this better demonstrated than in her overtly emotional scenes, namely when she's being attacked by songbirds. As previously mentioned, there is very little stretching of her face. She's kind of doing the astonished emoji face, which is to say a very non-exaggerated expression. It gets the point across, sure, she's scared, she doesn't want to be pecked by birds, she's trying to kill someone and these birds are being super rude to her. But with her already exaggerated proportions, you'd expect a little more oomph to her facial movement. And I think this was intentional on the animator's part. It makes her feel detached, almost inhuman, which is in stark contrast to the lively humanity of the dwarves. It's neat. I like it.